What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video I want to talk about Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. Now, originally, this was just going to be a what's going on type video, a video where I talk about a game that's probably coming out in 2025 and talk about what's going on with it, right? And I was going to kind of lean into the silence, there's not a lot going on. Now, in a way, that's true. However, the day I chose to record this, luckily I waited on this because I was actually going to do this last week, but I waited. There's actually an article done literally today from EW, Entertainment Weekly. This is an odd one for it to come out on, but you know what? Specifically, the end of the article kind of talked about the mentality of Amy Hennig and the studio, and I'm okay with it for the simple fact that it's her, and I have so much trust in her. I think she's got to be one of my favorite people in the gaming industry, and she gave me the legend that is Uncharted, so I owe a lot to her. I mean, Uncharted is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I trust her, okay? However, the end of the article very much talks about this being basically a movie or TV show experience where, they want the person playing it to be invested and be involved in it, but they also want somebody kind of watching along, next to you, right, to be invested. Now, to be fair, they talk about what she's done in the past with, like, Uncharted and stuff, and, I mean, when I played Uncharted, I actually played it with a friend, and we would hand it off, for every chapter, and it actually did feel like that. It felt like you were in it with that person, even if you weren't playing, because it just is so impactful, or, the action doesn't stop, or the story or whatever. So I in that way, I get what she's getting at. Now, the rest of this article that I'm referencing here, right? I mean, this is the first piece of news that we got on this game in about a year. And I do want to lean into that a little bit, right? So, like, what's going on with this game? Well, it's still coming out in 2025. In the Entertainment Weekly article, she doesn't say it, but the interview talks about it, how it is coming out next year. And, I don't know how these interview things generally work, but I do imagine, like, some of these things are said out loud. I also imagine they know things beyond just the article itself. And so I feel like if this game was not coming out in their minds, right, Amy's mind and that studio's mind, if it was not coming out in 2025, they would have corrected that. That would not be in this article. So I do want to lean into that because I do think that's important. And, going into last year when we saw the trailer, the full official, first trailer, right, that was all we kind of knew. I mean, we know 4 characters, right, and you're going to kind of be jumping between them, and there's almost going to be this, like, on again, off again relationship with them where they kind of are going to need each other and all that stuff. I mean, and we kind of knew that even, I would say, a year ago. That was also stressed in this article I'm talking about. Different locations. We know Paris and we also know Wakanda, but they did say there's going to be more. So they've shown us those 2, but there is going to be more of them. And I think they said globe-trotting adventure. So you're going to be going all around the world, and obviously Hydra, being the villain. That's kind of it. The article itself, to me, the biggest takeaway from the article is just that it said 2025. And it's like, all right. And they also talk about kind of extending or just like kind of letting there be moments in between these news drops where, like, you can't give it all away. And because you still have a while to go until the game comes out, you can't say everything in this article, right? You got to give it a couple months, drop something else. So what that tells me, okay, is that this game is coming out, and I'm going to predict very, very, very late 2025. In fact, so late that I'm going to make this prediction right now. This is a prime candidate, I think, to be delayed. I don't want it to be delayed. Let me make that clear. I don't want it to be delayed, but I think this is a very good candidate to get delayed, simply just because the way they word it makes it sound like this is October, November, December of next year. You also have GTA. We also just got done talking, a week or 2 ago about the reports that, like, studios are pretty scared. Studios are not going to give their games dates until they know GTA's date. So, if GTA comes out in October, with this game coming out in October, probably not. I don't really think it matters too much. They are pretty different games, but GTA being as big as it is does take kind of anybody, right? It takes, like, the mental space of a person's mind, thinking about a game. If you can buy it one game every 2-3 months, GTA is probably the game you're getting around that time. So I do get it. I do think the games are different enough where if they release 2-3 weeks apart, I don't think it wouldn't kill me. I do think, though, it might hurt the game, so I understand that, but I think we have a little bit more of a waiting period. I know other people said it after the Game Awards. I predicted, like, this was this is a game that I think works really well at an event as like a showstopper type thing. And if you think about it, and I still am a little critical on this, even though I trust Amy, and even though, I want to believe in this game quite a bit, I can't believe in it 100% until we actually see gameplay, because so far it is about as close to real life as you can get, right? That was kind of what was emphasized last year when they showed it, is like, can you tell the difference between this and an actual movie? Because Kari Payton, right? Like, he looks it's him. It's literally just him doing the motion capture. You couldn't even tell if it's the character or if it's just him in the motion capture, right? So that's phenomenal. And if they can do that with Amy's signature kind of wild ride Uncharted-like thing, if that's the game, it could be a game of the year. If the game is too focused on tech which actually does scare me a little bit, because at the end of the article, she does talk about tech being like a major element of this game. Again, I mean, if you're trying to show it off and you're trying to stand out, it's a new company, it's her leading this game, right? Like, this is the first game she's made since that era of Uncharted, and then, she was going to do Star Wars, and that fell through. So, like, this is it. I understand. I mean, the game does look unreal, literally unreal. Like, you can't even believe that it's not real life people. However, people do, I think, have a problem with games that they cannot actually play. So we do need to see, and I guess, again, in terms of what's going on with the game and where are we going in 2025, next time we see this game needs to be gameplay. I'm going to say it right now. I think I've probably said it for a year. It's not new. I don't think it's controversial. I don't think it's unique even. But I do think the next time we see this game, if it's at Summer Game Fest, if it's at a PlayStation show, an Xbox show, they need to show 2, 3, 4 minutes. We need to see gameplay. You got to show some movement. You got to show some in-game stuff. Even if the stuff before was in-game, that's fine. That's cool. In fact, that's impressive. But you do have to show us moving around. You have to show combat. You can even show some set pieces, whatever you want to do. You got to show how we actually play this game. Otherwise, you're just leaning so much into the tech that you forget that it's a video game. So that's the one thing that they need to prove to me. And they got maybe like 11 months to do it. Again, maybe the game gets moved to 2026. Maybe it doesn't. But hopefully we see a good amount of this, next year. And hopefully it doesn't take too long. Even if the game comes out October, November, you really got to start showing it by June. I would say that any fall game, by Summer Game Fest, you got to be right there, especially the bigger ones. And you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell when a game's not going to do it, right? Like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was supposed to be, I believe, a fall game, right? And then it was delayed. You could see that coming. There just wasn't enough on the game. There wasn't enough shown on that game June, July, August to show that it was actually, I think maybe November was supposed to come out or whatever. It never looked like it. I have full belief in that game. I think that game's going to freaking rule. But it never really looked like it was going to come out when they said it. And you could tell by what they were actually showing of it. So I think it's the same thing. And I think, it's more prominent with these prominent games. When it comes to this Rise of Hydra, if we don't see it at Summer Game Fest, or we're not getting like major details by June, July, I don't think it's coming in the fall. You could argue, well, they might want to hold off on the release date until GTA. You don't hold off on showing your game, though. If your game's ready, you show it. If the game's not ready and it's 2026, then yeah, you don't show it, and that would mean it's delayed, right? So those are just some things I'm going to be looking forward to. But to be honest, I'm not really expecting much on this game until like April, May, June, kind of the springtime. I think this article is kind of it for a little while, and that's sad because I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more from the first time. It wasn't even, it kind of just came out of nowhere. It's like, oh my God, she did an interview. Oh my God, they're talking about the game. It's been like a year and 3 months. I think it was September of last year, maybe even before that. Maybe it was August. It's been over a year since we've seen or heard anything about this game, and then you drop it on like an Entertainment Weekly, not even IGN, not anything like that, not Bloomberg or whatever. You do it on this. Kind of odd, but it is what it is, I suppose. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.